Yo, what is up guys? Today's August 6th, I'm sitting outside of Starbucks, and I wanted to make this video about how to start a podcast, or 3 tips for starting a podcast. Recently, I have undergone the endeavor of starting my own podcast, and I've learned a couple of tips and tricks that I want to share with you guys that I think are extremely practical. And yeah, I'm just gonna jump right into it. The first one might be kind of obvious, but it actually wasn't that intuitive for me, because at first I struggled to figure out exactly how I was going to approach creating a podcast. And so the first one is finding a niche. And what I mean by this isn't like that gets thrown around a lot, but you want to find a topic in a niche, and think about like a title. Start thinking about like what your artwork is going to look like in terms of, album artwork for the podcast. And once you have that, you can begin thinking about, who am I going to have on the podcast? What type of questions? What's the purpose of the podcast? Who are you trying to attract? What are you wanting to get out of the podcast? For me, the name of my podcast is called the Blockchain Gaming Podcast, and so as the title suggests, I'm sort of trying to bring people on the podcast at the intersection of blockchain and video gaming. And this is important because, like I said, the album artwork, which you're able to get really cheap on Fiverr. I had a guy make my album artwork, or my podcast artwork, for $7. And I think that once you have the niche, you can start really sort of just figure out, again, what it is you're trying to talk about and who you're targeting, and that will just get the ball rolling for you. The second tip is a lot more practical. There's been 2 sort of, and I had trial and error. At first I was going to, the tip number 2 is figure out how you're going to record. And I recommend one of 2 different options. The first one is zoom.us, which this is a really great service offered by the same people who do GitHub. So I think it's open source. No, it's not. But you can download the software, the zoom.us software, and whenever you conference, it's free. Whenever you conference call with someone on your computer, you have your audio and their audio, and your visual and their visual. But the really cool thing about this software is that you're able to record the conversation, and the recording actually comes all out as a switch in the visual when the audio shifts. So here's the caveat: if the free software program that you download only allows you to conference call with like 2 people. If you want more than that, you have to subscribe for the service. But for my purposes, I only want me and another person on my podcast at any given time, so it works great. And the audio is really good. The visuals are really good. You guys will see whenever I start uploading some of the interviews I've done that basically, the video is all there, and then after you've done the recording, it converts it to MP4 and MP3. So it's like you basically just have to have the conversation, click the record button. It's very intuitive when you get on the software. It's built in, like whenever you and someone else are finally on the podcast, you just click record, or on the video or the Skype conference, you just click record, and it's good to go. The second one is Anchor. Anchor is a little bit more complex. Well, not that much more complex. It's an app, it's a mobile app, and you can host your podcast with another person over the phone, record it, just having a phone conversation. So check out Anchor as well. I think that's a great recommendation. And then my third tip is hi. People walking by. Hi. I forgot what it was. People distract me when I'm doing these. It just throws me off my game. So you have that, recording. Oh, reaching out to people. Yeah, so this one, for the longest time, and it seems, again, very intuitive, but I'm gonna give you guys a couple of different tips and tricks. You wanna find people that are gonna bring value to your audience, people who are listening. And once you have your niche and you think about who's involved in this niche, for me personally, the blockchain gaming sphere, I've reached out to developers, streamers, gamers, people building on games and things on top of different blockchains. And you guys really just have to be persistent with this. Like, get into the DMs on Twitter, Instagram, Telegram. I have reached out to people on all these platforms, and some people respond, some people don't. Don't get discouraged if they don't, but yeah, just start messaging people on these platforms and, you know, tell them what you're doing. And a lot of people are really eager to talk and just, you know, share their thoughts, and it's a great way to connect with people. And so yeah, jump into people's DMs to get people to come on your podcast. Hopefully these tips are practical and useful, and let me know what you guys think, and I'll be talking a little bit more about my podcast in the future, and I can't wait to share them with you guys. Peace.